Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 8 of the anime series Norn9. And the plot, she does a thicken. I didn't see any of this stuff coming. You know, we're basically dealing with the cliffhanger of Mikoto's having been thrown over this ledge by Ron, and she's falling, and I'm like, how are they going to save her? And this episode opens. They can't even find her. Like, the energy barrier that is of her creation is still up, and they're just desperate to find her. They have no idea where she is. I have no idea where she is, what happened to her. But they assure us she is alive, and soon after we see she's actually been saved by this cat that I've been calling the gunman. Natsuhiko, I believe is his name. I think they may have said this very early on, like in his first appearance, and I just didn't catch it. So I've been referring to him as Gunman, but he has taken Mikoto somehow, like spirited her away mid-fall. You know, she's kind of sort of being held captive, but not quite at the same time. And very much it's Natsuhiko's sort of mission statement to reveal to her what the truth of Norn is and the world and the reset. And all of that is like info dumped in this episode while everyone basically leaves Norn and they're searching over the world. You know, I guess 1919 seems to be the main sort of time period they're stuck within, I guess you could say. Even though you have, like, you know, Sorara coming from 2016 and all this kind of stuff. The timey-wiminess and how that doesn't seem to all align is what's thoroughly explained by the end of this episode. It really reminded me of, like, sort of a classic anime where there's just so much sci-fi weirdness going on. And it's very much to do about war and the idea of resetting the world. And it blew my mind that this is actually going to be like the fourth history that the world has undergone. The fourth time that Norn and, I guess, Ein/Ion, this ghostly girl, as we have revealed to us in the heart of Norn, really, has utilized people, beings with powers, to reset the world and to reset history. And it seems to me that Natsuhiko very much wants to put a stop to this. And then on the other side of the aisle, as if mind not blown quite enough, is Shiro, Kakeru's father, who Natsuhiko wants to take out because he wants to put a stop to these resets, and Shiro seems to be all about the resets. You have Toya at one point meeting with this sort of enigmatic woman. She grabs him like into an alley. Nagisa, I guess, is her name. And I'm assuming she's like the assistant of Shiro or something like that, because she's talking about, you know, moving ahead with the reset sooner than thought or whatever, or sooner than planned. Questions my... you know, thoughts on Toya, where his allegiances lie and everything. It sounds like she's being motivated by Toya's father, potentially as well, like an elder Toya, as she references him. I'm not exactly sure of the familial relations and all that kind of stuff going on there. But that adds to the just mind-blown thing. Like, this is all about getting these people with powers together in order to reset the world. And it's all because of the exhaustion of war, of a fourth world war that eventually takes shape. And this is what awoke in humanity the idea of resetting time and bringing Earth back, winding it back to a time of peace. And unfortunately, war is something that is unavoidable. You can't really avoid it. And, you know, people like Natsuhiko understand this, and they want to move beyond the war. They want to create peace, you know, perpetual in that unfolding timeline, rather than having to keep hitting restart every other, you know, century or whatever, every couple thousand years. They're like 8,000 years into this. And it's insane. It's absolutely insane. But I loved everything going on in this, the tension, you know, like that whole air battle fight that Mikoto was being, you know, witness to with Natsuhiko piloting like a maniac, and then she has to use her barrier powers to save them from, you know, exploding out from under themselves in midair and everything like that. She wants to be brought down to the city to create a protective barrier over it. And all the while this is going on, you have everyone looking for her, and Kakeru is split up between, you know, Koharu and Senri. And he has actually gone after Ron, I believe, most specifically. What did you do with Mikoto? And Ron is all like, dude, you don't even know. There's a bigger thing going on here. Your pops is in town, and he's got Koharu now. You're too late. And when he tries to get back to her, and like, I don't know what is going on with Shiro, Kakeru's father. Like, does he have some sort of powers of persuasion? Is he lying to Koharu to make her do what she does? She effectively summons. This is the first time since that sort of accidental, when Natsuhiko was attacking Norn very early on in the series. This is the first time we see Koharu's power summoned again, only this time purposefully. And she creates a tornado of flame, exploding all of these tanks in the middle of this war, I guess to propel that reset. Like, just make everything come to a standstill and hopefully reset everything is what Shiro's goal is, I have to assume. Whereas now everybody on Norn is being debuted to the fact that Ion, whatever this being is, what their purposes are. This all falls on them. The world is now on their shoulders by the end to consider whether or not they want to bring about a better, more benevolent future, whether they can. And you have Senator there like, why us? Why does it have to fall to us? He is constantly lamenting everything that happens to him. But in that moment, it's like it's the first time it really resonates with me as a viewer, because look at all these young people. They don't know why they've even been here. They've just been trying to make the best of a strange situation. And they've gotten to know each other. They've spent so much time befriending each other and caring and being concerned for each other, really, truly becoming friends and connected. And now the weight of the entire history of the world, multiple histories of the world, are put on their shoulders in that reset framework, in the idea of recapturing some level of innocence in the world and trying to wind back to that. When the wars, the hate, the racism, all of these negative things that, people are trying to quell, they think if they can just reset things enough times, it'll all go away. Well, it's not that easy. It never will be that easy. It's something that will never fully die. You just have to live with it. You have to make the best of your own life. And that's what these characters are doing. Now they're being asked to effectively sort of, hallmark and herald a new beginning all over again for the 5th time. And it's like, I'm very much more so aligning myself to, Natsuhiko's point of view where, no, we can't keep doing this. Life has to keep going, whether war is a part of it or not. It's inevitable. It's going to be. We just got to make our, best leap forward. And so, yeah, like, talk about mind-F episode, but info dump episode makes so much more sense out of everything that's been going on. And it just leads me really captivated. And, because the cliffhanger in this particular case is Kakeru's trying to find Koharu, and she's been taken by Shiro, his own father, who is, by the way, in her past, the traveler that was guiding her. So we see that there has been a malevolent force, in a sense, in the sense of the reset, that has been guiding her from the very beginning. And how is that all going to play out? How are they going to put a stop to this reset process? Will they be able to? Is it inevitable that it's going to happen one way or the other because Ion is programmed that way? I don't know. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but it's mind-blowing. I can't wait to see what in the hell happens. Like I've said before, there's so many aspects of this series, every other episode, that it's like befuddling and confusing, but it's that much more tantamount to compelling. Because it's like, holy hell, you can just barely understand everything that's going on. And you understand what's at stake, and you're, invested in the characters. So there's enough to draw you in. And it's just like, you're mystified at the same time. Like, how can this all be happening? What is going to happen next? And so, just damn. With all of this. And I also have to give a shout of thanks to a couple of viewers who commented on my last video talking about the whole flashback sequence with Nanami. Apparently that was not Akito, whose memory she blanked, and it's somebody else who is a part of Norn or whatever like that. I haven't actually looked to try to notice who that is in the background, which of these other characters that might be and everything like that, because I figured I don't know how relevant they're going to make that to the unfolding story. If that's something that becomes relevant and we have that revealed as stated in the show, then it'll be something to take note of. But for the moment, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to spoil it for myself if it's not going to be an aspect of the story at the moment, or it's something that they're going to be revealing later I don't want to spoil myself along those lines, but I did think it was highly fascinating that that was not, in fact, Akito, whose memory she blanks, and it just adds to a whole host of questions like who was it, why did she, all this kind of stuff, and until they feel like delving into it, if they're gonna delve into it, I don't want to sort of tip the hat myself and go looking into other information. Whatever the anime feels befitting of revealing for the whole story, whatever the plot of this series is meant to be from beginning to end, is all I really want to focus on. But thanks in any case for the heads up on that, because it was like another WTF going on that just adds to the intrigue. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 8 of Norn9, if you've seen it, if you're familiar with the source material without going into spoilers, how closely are they keeping to it? Is this pretty much the story as the game and or manga, whatever the source material, whatever various versions of it there are? Is this the story as it's supposed to be told? Are they doing anything original anime style, all that kind of stuff? I'm always fascinated by that kind of stuff. And if you have any speculations, if you're not familiar with the source material, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to be able to stop this reset for the 4th time happening, or the 5th time? Or do you think the reset is inevitable and we're going to see everything dialed back to 0 in the end? It's going to be really intriguing to see how these characters come together and what decision they make, if it's even left to them. Because I have to assume people like Shiro and this, woman Nagisa and everything like that, their involvement seems to signal to me that they may have other means of bringing about a reset if the characters of Norn, all the people with powers, decide not to go along with it. So it might be, these two factions coming head to head in the end. And, yeah. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.